The alien queen sat high on her crystalline throne, her long silver-blue robes flowing like liquid light across the floor. Her eyes, sharp and unyielding, scanned the chamber filled with her most trusted advisors and generals. Reports had reached her ears of a warrior from a distant human world, a man whose name was whispered with both fear and fascination across many star systems. Captain Elias Kane, they said, a human capable of feats no alien has ever matched. The queen let out a soft melodic laugh, a sound that echoed against the crystal walls. Legends, she said, her voice calm but commanding. Stories meant to scare children and entertain fools. Humans are weak. They do not belong among the stars as equals. We are stronger, smarter, and far more disciplined than any human warrior could ever dream of becoming. Her advisors hesitated, unsure whether to challenge her. Many had already reported strange happenings near the borders of their empire. Alien patrols had encountered humans using tactics that were unorthodox, unpredictable, and frighteningly effective. Ships had disappeared without warning, and small squads of humans had outmaneuvered entire regiments of alien soldiers. One advisor, a tall figure with iridescent skin and multifaceted eyes, stepped forward cautiously. "Your Majesty," he began, "we have received reports that Captain Kane and his unit are moving closer to our frontier. His methods are unconventional. He does not follow the patterns we expect, and yet he succeeds. We should take caution." The queen waved her hand dismissively, her long fingers sparkling in the ambient light. "Caution," she repeated. "Do you suggest that I, who have ruled this empire for centuries, should fear a human? I have seen their species, I have studied them. They are clever, yes, but they are fragile. One human cannot hope to challenge an entire empire." Her advisors nodded, though uneasily. They had learned long ago that the queen rarely heeded warnings, no matter how serious. But this time, even they could not ignore the unease that had spread among the border fleets. Far away, on the edge of human space, Captain Elias Kane stood on the bridge of the starship Resolute. The ship was modest by alien standards, but sleek and fast, designed for speed, stealth, and adaptability. Kane's eyes, a deep brown, scanned the star charts projected above the bridge. His team was small, a dozen elite soldiers trained to handle situations that others could not. He was aware of the rumors spreading among alien sectors, rumors that painted him as some kind of invincible figure. Kane smirked at the thought. "Invincible? Hardly," he said quietly to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Mira Tan. "But if it keeps them guessing, I'll take it." Mira, a human with quick reflexes and an even quicker mind, nodded. "The Queen's forces are strong, Kane. They've beaten fleets before. If we run into her personally..." "We adapt," Kane interrupted, his voice firm but calm. "Humans survive because we think differently. We do not follow predictable patterns, and that is what makes us dangerous." The Resolute moved silently through the void, a shadow among the stars. Kane had received intelligence that the Queen was personally inspecting the frontier defenses, confident that any human threat could be neutralized before it became serious. He knew the risks, but he also knew that sometimes the best strategy was to strike when the enemy least expected it. Back on the throne world, the Queen's curiosity began to grow. Reports had reached her of small human ships bypassing massive defense grids, of skirmishes where humans had outmaneuvered her elite warriors. She had watched videos of their tactics, analyzing them in detail, but she remained unconvinced. Humans were clever, she thought, but no human could ever match the full might of her empire. Her decision came quickly. She would see this human for herself. She would confront the stories and decide once and for all whether they were mere fables. The preparations were swift. Her flagship, the Starlight Dominion, was readied for travel. Elite guards, capable of moving at speeds faster than sound through vacuum, were selected to accompany her. She would face this human warrior personally, and the Empire would witness a display of absolute power. Meanwhile, Kane and his team continued their approach. They studied every movement of the Queen's patrols, noting the patterns in her forces. Unlike the aliens, humans thrived in unpredictability. Kane knew that a direct confrontation with her full strength would be suicide. But a careful approach using ingenuity and strategy could turn the odds in their favor. The first skirmish occurred on the outskirts of the Queen's territory. A patrol fleet detected the human ships and moved to intercept. The aliens expected a direct attack, but Kane's team split into smaller units, creating diversions and attacking from unexpected angles. Alien commanders were baffled. Communications broke down and patrol ships were outmaneuvered without even realizing it. When the reports reached the Queen, she could hardly contain a smile. She had expected a simple, straightforward battle. Instead, she found herself facing tactics that challenged her understanding of warfare. "Interesting," she murmured. "Perhaps these humans are more cunning than I imagined." She did not, however, show fear. Confidence radiated from her in every movement, every word, every glance. She still believed in her power, in her unmatched ability to control the battlefield. But for the first time, she recognized that humans were unpredictable. They could not be calculated easily, and in unpredictability lay danger. The Queen decided to accelerate her visit to the frontier. She would confront this Captain Kane directly. She wanted to see the human in person, to test the stories herself. Perhaps, she thought, she could even use him as an example to teach the rest of her empire that even clever humans could be crushed if faced with the full might of the throne world. Kane, unaware of the Queen's personal approach, continued his strategic maneuvers. He had intercepted alien communications, suggesting that the Queen might herself be moving to the frontier. The information was incomplete but enough to make him cautious. "Mira," he said, "if she's coming personally, we need to be ready. This won't be a normal skirmish. We may have to adapt faster than ever before." Mira nodded, her eyes focused. "We can handle it, Kane. Humans always find a way." And they did. The Queen's flagship arrived at the frontier in a burst of blinding light. Her presence alone disrupted alien communications and radar systems. Kane watched from his small vessel as a massive ship, impossibly vast and gleaming like a star itself, appeared on the edge of the system. For a moment, even he felt the weight of the situation. But he quickly reminded himself that humans thrived under pressure, that ingenuity often outweighed brute strength. The Queen observed from her command bridge, her piercing eyes scanning the dark expanse of space. And then, she saw it. A small human ship, moving with precision and unpredictability, weaving between asteroid belts and patrol ships as if it were alive. She leaned forward, her curiosity turning to intrigue. "So this is the human warrior," she whispered. "Let us see if he lives up to the tales." The first part of their encounter had begun. The frontier, once calm and predictable under the Queen's dominion, now hummed with tension. One human, armed with courage, skill, and creativity, faced the might of an empire. And one alien queen, confident and commanding, was about to discover that fables sometimes contain more truth than anyone expects. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. Kane prepared his team for the next phase. He knew the Queen's forces would react with overwhelming strength, but he also knew that humans could adapt in ways no alien could anticipate. The first skirmish had been a test, a warning. Now the real challenge was about to begin, and somewhere across the void the Queen's eyes shone with both amusement and interest. She had always dismissed humans as primitive, incapable of matching the sophistication of her empire. But now she realized that one human, one clever, brave, unpredictable human, was already challenging everything she believed. The frontier, once merely a distant outpost, had become the stage for a clash of legends. Kane adjusted his controls and gave orders to his team, each action precise and measured, yet flexible. "Stay sharp," he said. "They expect us to follow patterns. Let's make sure we don't." In the silence of space, the first threads of destiny began to intertwine. The fabled human warrior and the legendary alien queen, each unaware of just how profoundly the other would change their understanding of courage, power, and honor. The Queen's laughter, soft but edged with steel, echoed across her bridge. "We shall see," she said. "We shall see indeed." The stars waited, silent witnesses to a meeting that would challenge myths, test bravery, and celebrate the courage of a species long underestimated. And for the first time, both human and alien understood that the stories told across the galaxy might only be the beginning of what was truly possible. The horizon of the Queen's throne world stretched endlessly, a maze of crystalline towers that shimmered like ice under twin suns. From orbit, the Starlight Dominion glided silently, massive and imposing, a monument to the Queen's power. Inside, she stood on the observation deck, her silver-blue robes flowing around her like liquid metal. Her eyes, sharp and unblinking, followed the small human ship that had so skillfully evaded her patrols. "Captain Elias Kane. Impressive," she murmured almost to herself. "He is clever. Too clever." Her advisors flinched. None had ever heard the Queen speak so thoughtfully of a human. They had seen many conquerors fall to human ingenuity, but the Queen had always dismissed it until now. "Your Majesty," one whispered, "he is alone. We can strike him down before he reaches the planet's surface." "Surely—" "No," the Queen interrupted, her voice smooth but commanding. "I wish to see him. I wish to see if the stories are true. If one human can defy our fleets, then it is worth my time to meet him in person." Below, Kane's team maneuvered their small ship through asteroid belts and debris fields, avoiding patrols that had grown more aggressive after the first skirmish. He could feel the Queen's presence even from orbit, a heavy, commanding weight pressing against the edges of his mind. He had studied alien tactics for years, but nothing had prepared him for facing someone of her intelligence and strength. "Captain," Lieutenant Miratan said, her eyes fixed on the readouts. "We're entering the planet's atmosphere. The Queen's main defenses will be active shortly. This is our chance to make contact or to survive." Kane's lips pressed together. "We do what humans do best. We adapt." The small ship slipped past energy barriers and defensive drones with precise maneuvers. The Queen watched from her flagship, curiosity sharpening her senses. She had underestimated the humans once, and she would not make that mistake again. As Kane's ship landed within a designated arena-like zone, she decided it was time to engage directly. The Queen descended in her personal shuttle, elegant and terrifying, casting a shimmering shadow over the human ship. Kane's team immediately took defensive positions, weapons raised, but Kane himself stepped forward. His posture was calm, unthreatened, yet ready. The Queen's eyes, glowing softly, met his. In that moment, silence fell over the arena. It was not just two beings confronting each other. It was two legends colliding. "You are Captain Elias Kane," the Queen said, her voice both musical and commanding. "I have heard much about you." "And you are the alien Queen," Kane replied evenly. "Stories tell of your strength and cunning. I am honored to meet you." A flicker of amusement crossed the Queen's face. "Flattery will not save you, human." "I don't plan to be saved," Kane said, his tone steady. "I plan to survive." The Queen's hand moved and energy surged around her, the air itself humming with power. She struck first, a wave of force that could shatter stone and crush armor. Kane rolled to the side, using his agility to avoid the initial strike. His movements were not random. They were deliberate, adapting to the patterns she was beginning to reveal. The battle began in earnest. Kane relied on speed, strategy, and ingenuity, while the Queen relied on raw power and experience. Each clash demonstrated the stark difference between their approaches. The Queen's strikes were precise, overwhelming, and awe-inspiring, yet Kane's unpredictability made her hesitate. He did not fight like any warrior she had faced before. The human's small team provided support, creating diversions and attacking when openings appeared. The Queen dismissed them easily at first, focusing on Kane, but even she could not ignore their clever maneuvers. The humans moved as one, anticipating each other, complementing Kane's actions. As the battle continued, the Queen began to feel something she had not expected: respect. This human was not just brave. He was clever, resourceful, and unyielding. Each time she thought she had him cornered, he found a new way to survive, to turn the tide, to challenge her. "You are remarkable," she admitted quietly during a brief pause in the battle. "And you are formidable," Kane replied, breathing steadily, sweat beading his forehead. "We're not so different, you and I. Both of us fight for what we believe is right." The Queen paused, considering his words. She had always believed humans were weak, incapable of true resilience. But here was one human standing against her might, thinking, adapting, refusing to yield. Perhaps the myths were true after all. The battle escalated. Kane used the environment to his advantage, leaping across crystalline towers, ducking behind pillars, and using energy conduits as shields. The Queen adapted as well, her movements faster, more calculated, blending power and strategy. For the first time, she faced an opponent who forced her to think beyond mere strength. Kane noticed her hesitation and seized the moment. "We don't need to destroy each other," he said. "We can end this without unnecessary bloodshed. You are not my enemy. I am not yours." The Queen's eyes narrowed, studying him. His words were calm, almost defiant, yet full of sincerity. She had faced many who tried to bargain, to trick, or to manipulate. But this human, he spoke truth. And in truth there was courage, honor, and strength. Kane extended a hand, a gesture of peace, though he remained alert. "We can learn from each other," he said. "Your empire is powerful, but humans are clever and brave. Together we could achieve more than either side alone." The Queen regarded him in silence, her mind racing. She had never encountered a human like this, one who fought not just with skill but with honor, foresight, and empathy. She lowered her energy defenses slowly, a sign of trust and respect. "You surprise me, human," she said softly. "I expected a creature of instinct, of weakness. But you are worthy of legend," Kane nodded. "Legends are born from courage, not size or strength. You've proven that today." The Queen considered his words carefully. She could have crushed him at any moment, yet she did not. There was something to be gained from this encounter, something more valuable than victory. Understanding, respect, and perhaps even alliance. Her ship's energy pulsed lightly, no longer a weapon but a symbol of her presence and power. "Very well," she said. "You have proven yourself. Humans are not the fables I once believed them to be, perhaps. There is more to this species than I thought." Kane smiled, a mixture of relief and respect. "And perhaps there is more to your empire than we humans can imagine," he said. "We can work together, not against each other." For the first time, the Queen felt a sense of camaraderie with a human. She had faced one in person and realized that courage, ingenuity, and honor could rival power in ways even an empire could not predict. The humans and the Queen's forces withdrew to their respective ships, not as enemies, but as cautious allies. Kane and his team returned to orbit, knowing that the first step toward understanding had been taken. The Queen remained on her throne world, thoughtful and intrigued, considering the implications of what she had just witnessed. The frontier, once a place of isolation and caution, had become a meeting ground for two species, each learning from the other. Kane and the Queen had faced each other and survived, and in that survival a new possibility had been born. The Queen turned her gaze to the stars, her mind alive with new ideas. She had underestimated humans, and that mistake could have been fatal. Yet in facing Kane, she had discovered strength in a species she had dismissed. Perhaps there were other humans, other leaders who could teach her even more about courage, resilience, and ingenuity. Kane, aboard the Resolute, looked back at the throne world. The encounter had changed him as well. Humans were often underestimated, but today they had proven their value not just in battle but in diplomacy and honor. He felt a surge of pride, not just for himself but for all humanity. In the silence of space, a quiet understanding formed between human and alien. Legends had met, fables had walked into reality, and the galaxy had witnessed a moment that would be told for generations. The Queen, once dismissive of human warriors, had learned that courage, ingenuity, and honor could rival any empire. Kane, the human captain, had faced a being of unimaginable power and survived, not through brute strength, but through adaptability, intelligence, and respect. And as the stars twinkled above, both human and alien understood that this was only the beginning. A new chapter in interstellar history had begun, one written not in conquest, but in mutual recognition and the celebration of strength, courage, and wisdom. The frontier was quiet once more, yet charged with possibility. The alien Queen had faced the human warrior, and in doing so, discovered that even the smallest spark of courage could illuminate the darkest reaches of the galaxy. Captain Kane looked out at the endless stars and smiled. Humans had survived, and they had shown the galaxy what it meant to be brave. The Queen had learned a lesson she would never forget. Legends were real, fables were true, and the human spirit was a force that could never be ignored. The galaxy waited, silent but full of potential, as human courage and alien wisdom began a journey that would shape the future for all species.